Welcome to Out of the Blue, number 102. My name is Chris Marshall. I'm going to begin with a little quote from this book. This is Alan Watts. The book on the taboo against knowing who you are. Alan Watts says in the introduction, page 5, the book I am thinking about would not be religious in the usual sense, but it would have to discuss many things with which religions have been concerned. The universe and man's place in it, the mysterious center of experience which we call I, myself, the problems of life and love, pain and death, and the whole question of whether existence has any meaning in any sense of the word. So, I'm going to introduce a little, some personalities in the history of Neo-Swedenborgianism. Now, you might think that there's not much history to it, but there in fact is. So, this is Worldview in Mind. I've mentioned this book before, and this is Eugene Webb. I'm going to start with Eugene Webb because Eugene Webb was a professor of mine at the University of Washington, and he wanted to give a course. Now, the University of Washington is a state college, obviously. It's a secular school. And he wanted to give a course on the Bible as a book of literature. So, a kind of a secular course on the Bible, and he was barred from doing it because it was a secular college, a state college, and you're not supposed to teach on religious subjects. But his point was that it's a book in our civilization, in our culture, and as such, it can be taught. And this went to the Washington State Supreme Court, and Eugene Webb won. And they were able to teach the course. And so they also have a course in the Quran at the University of Washington, which I took, and they have a variety of other courses like that. So the point I want to make is that what I'm doing with Neo-Swedenborgianism is I am talking in a secular, which means non-religious, manner about things which are usually the subjects of religion, like heaven and hell and afterlife, God, and specifically how to live your life. Because that's the end result of Neo-Swedenborgianism. The point is to live the life you want to live, right? And so I bring up Eugene Webb because I'm following in his footsteps, essentially. He was a professor of comparative religion, and that was my major in college, University of Washington. And so I'm trying to make the point that I am speaking in a secular fashion, in a non-religious fashion, on subjects that are usually spoken about in a religious manner. Now, the history of Neo-Swedenborgianism. In the 1700s, there was Swedenborg and a guy named Immanuel Kant. And so, in the 1800s, you have a subject called spiritualism, which was, there were a lot of phonies in spiritualism, but there's also a lot of interesting reading in spiritualism. So, then you have the 1900s, and you have Harry Houdini. Let's go look at a picture of Harry Houdini. And Harry Houdini debunked the spiritualists because he saw that they were basically doing magic tricks. Here's a Waldo, speaking of magic tricks. And then, so Houdini debunked the spiritualists, and that brings us up to today. Because I am taking it one step further than Houdini. Oh, there used to be a Houdini poster right there. Who's there now? Let's look. Sorca. So there's not much. As I've said, am the progenitor of Neo-Swedenborgianism, so the history of Neo-Swedenborgianism does not go back very far. It starts with Swedenborg. It includes Immanuel Kant, Then you have spiritualism in the 1800s, and you have Harry Houdini in the 1900s. And then you have me, because a lot of what I'm saying is in response directly to Harry Houdini. And so that brings you up to date with Neo-Swedenborgianism, because the Houdini, what I'm talking about with Houdini is that Houdini was a stage magician, and as such he understood that when you have people in an enclosed space like a theater, their perspective is limited. So you have them in their seat, so you can, for instance, make somebody seem to float, because from their perspective they can't see the wires or whatever it is that makes them float. You can hide them so effectively that all they see is a person floating. It's a perspective illusion. Based on their perspective, they can't see what's happening. And so my whole point is that now we have this new phenomenon today, the near-death experience, wherein people are claiming that, you know, the tunnel of light, the grandma, the life review and all this, and a lot of people are converted religiously by this experience. And my point is that it could all just be a perspective illusion. It could be essentially a magic trick that happens in your own mind because of your limited perspective. And so that takes it a next step. That responds to Houdini, and it develops the entire idea. And it gives us a lot to think about.